San Francisco has recently unanimously agreed to ban cars from Market Street, the heart of the city. What's your guys' takes on banning cars from streets? Because, as we know, Manhattan did it recently, 14th Street, and it's causing some fuss. So, should cities be considering banning cars on certain streets?
I would say yes, actually.
Why?
Only on certain streets.
Only on certain streets?
Because in cities like that, there are a lot of pedestrians and a lot of... I'm assuming Market Street, were we there?
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot going on there. So I'm assuming they did it for ease of everyone else in the city. And people who may live on that street. And I would say that overall, on only certain streets, I would say, yeah, it's probably worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw actually a post on Instagram because everything I see on the internet I take literally.
Yeah.
But there was like a picture of 200 people in cars, and it was like, so 200 cars, right? And then 200 people on like motorcycles or whatever, and then 200 people in a bus.
Yeah.
So it was like the street was gone, and it was just a square of people in a bus.
Exactly, yeah.
So
I think it's well due that these people go, hey, we know you like driving your cars for some reason. First of all, what type of person, okay, buys a car when they live in Manhattan?
I thought about this. I actually thought about this extensively.
Who does that?
People in Manhattan don't buy cars. But, much like Los Angeles, a lot of people live outside of Manhattan or Los Angeles and commute to the city
Okay.
to their job.
I wonder
Which is why they have a car, which is why it's so congested.
I wonder what the actual percentage of people who own vehicles who live in Manhattan is to people who don't own a vehicle at all.
That's a good question.
Because obviously some people do.
Some
But
people do, obviously.
If you own a car in Manhattan, you're... I don't know. That seems silly.
Well, it depends on what you do with your car. If you own it and do nothing with it, yeah, that's
If you own it
dumb.
in Manhattan, you can't really help but do nothing with it because there's nothing to do with it.
Right, but you might have a job outside of the city. It's less
Why
common.
you do that, I have no idea. But
Hey.
anything is possible, right? I think, why don't they just, like San Francisco, for example. I hate driving in San Francisco with a burning passion.
Yeah.
All the streets are too narrow. My turning radius is not sufficient, okay? It's not a great place to drive. I always get frustrated and annoyed. Can we just ban all the cars in San Francisco, please?
No,
I don't want to.
no.
I don't want there to be cars there. I'm
counter
sorry.
offer. You do like what London does and tax people who drive.
No, don't do that either. Okay, again, it goes back to people commute to the city
But you
to
can
their
take
job.
public
So
transport.
hold on, wait. Think about it this way. If you ban all cars from the city, hundreds of people going to their jobs will have to park outside of the city. So there's going to be a ring of cars around the city.
I'm in. I don't care.
No, just just like tax.
No,
people.
we'll just build a really big parking garage on the outside
tax
with
people.
a train that takes them in.
Tax people who drive in New York City or
Oh,
Los
this is
Angeles.
perfect. There will be a gigantic parking structure and a valet. You drop the car off, you get on the train, you take the train into the city. The valet takes care of parking your vehicle.
What I believe Peter is describing is a train station.
Well, there you go. Fortuna Redux has solved San Francisco's problem.
There we go. Okay. Well, anyways, moving on to the next story.
Yes. Okay, so some of you may know about Royal Enfield. Royal Enfield is a motorcycle company based in India as of the moment that makes new motorcycles but looks classic. So that's pretty cool. I like them.
Yeah, I like
An example of one of these bikes is the Classic 500. That's the name of the bike. I think that looks really good because I have a soft spot for classic motorcycles.
Yeah.
But anyway, Honda.
They're all the same.
Honda is decided to take them on in designing a neo-retro roadster.
Okay.
There's a picture of it, and it looks bad.
It looks like a Harley gone wrong.
I don't know. It doesn't look classic to me. It doesn't.
I'm sorry, who's making this again?
Honda?
Yeah, I can tell. I don't know. It's not good.
It's not bad. Okay, bad is a strong word. I would say it's not great. It's just... It doesn't look like a classic bike to me.
No, I don't like it. I'm definitively stating now, I do not like it. I had a time to think about it.
You know, I think
That's my conclusion.
one
I
of
don't
the
like
reasons
it.
they might be saying it's taking on the Royal Enfield is because the Royal Enfield is kind of targeted at a new rider group. It's a single cylinder with a 500cc capacity.
Right.
And this bike is a 400cc
Well,
single cylinder.
it's 300 to 500.
So you can buy it on a range of single cylinder CCs.
Correct.
Which is not a lot of power and it's really mellow. So it's probably targeted at young riders who are just starting out. But calling it a retro is a little bit of a long shot, I think.
Yeah, it's not their worst looking motorcycle, and it's not the worst looking motorcycle in the world by far. I don't know, it just looks too plain.
You would take the Royal Enfield.
Oh yeah, Royal Enfield. It may be Indian, but it looks really good. And if you don't like the Royal Enfield because it's made in India, there are other options for you, such as the Yamaha SR400. That's another motorcycle that looks really good.
Nice.
That motorcycle hasn't been changed since 1974 or whatever
I
when
like
they started
that. I
making.
think more companies should do that. Personally, I think motorcycles looked the best back then. Nowadays, the sport bikes, they're okay, but it's not my kind of motorcycle, personally. Another one would be the Kawasaki W800. That also looks really good.
It does.
But I don't understand why I keep doing that. Honda, why can't they make a bike that looks like that?
No idea, but I think if they want to be competitive in this market, they're going to have to. Well, what's the price range comparatively? Is it the same? Because if it is, they're going to have to make something that looks a lot nicer than that.
The Royal Enfield Classic 500 is 4,500 brand new.
Mm-hmm.
The SR400 is $5,000 brand new, and the Kawasaki W800
W800.
that's I think $8,000 brand new. And then let's not forget the Triumph Bonneville,
Yeah.
which if you get the
Yeah.
TR120 or the TR100 models, they look pretty close to retro. Like when I see them on the streets, I have to do double takes to make sure they're not the originals.
Yeah. But
And
they're
that's like
expensive.
the Triumphs are like $10,000.
Understandably, because it's Triumph.
Those are
but-
also 650 twins.
Yeah, and they're much.
And this
bigger.
one is the least nice looking out of the bunch, so I would hope that this is...
But they do say, based on the platform, they're planning on making other motorcycles.
Oh, that's good.
So there could be coming a retro-looking motorcycle from Honda, but as of now, the picture that I have here,
How much is it?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
We'll put it up on the screen.
Yes, because we're very knowledgeable and we do our homework beforehand.
Yes. We don't just show up here with pieces of paper and start talking. Who would do that? Anyway,
right.
with that, I think it's time for a segment that we have not seen on the show for quite a while, and
Wait.
it's time...
The poll. The poll.
Okay, go ahead.
We did a what looks better with the 1968 Dodge Charger versus the 1968 Chevrolet Camaro.
Mm-hmm.
And the results are, well, as of now, it's tied 50-50. So.
Meaning they both look equally bad.
Inconclusive. What are you talking about? Anyway,
Time for This Week in Europe.
so yes, let's go.
Are we rolling?
Oh,
Welcome to This Week in Europe. Can you guess what I'm going to talk about this week?
German electric vehicles.
no, wait. Sputnik.
German electric vehicles.
I had that one.
So, this time, it's Mercedes recalling a whole bunch of their EQC vehicles because of a faulty bolt.
That must be one important bolt.
It is, as a matter of fact. It's one of the main bolts in the axle transmission differential, or axle differential transmission. It seems like they have three words that don't go together that they just put
Well,
together.
that's why it doesn't work, is because it has to hold together the transmission and the axle and the differential all at the same time. Of course, it's going to break. What were they thinking?
We're not ignorant.
No.
So why is it? Are they recalling it? It's a faulty bolt.
So they said it does not meet durability standards and that it can, quote, not be ruled out that it will break.
The human race has been making bolts for
A very
hundreds
long
of years. And now Mercedes is saying, we can't make good bolts.
Well, it's just one, to be fair.
Just one.
Just one.
bolt.
But that raises the question, what other bad bolts are there in Mercedes?
That's a good question. You own one. Please tell us. Have you had any problems with your bolts?
Yes, he has. I know for a fact he has.
For real?
Under the car is all those
the
stupid
plastic
plastic
thing?
panels. There was just a missing bolt.
Mercedes bolts suck. Everybody, keep that in mind when purchasing one.
No, they don't.
Keep that in mind when you don't purchase a Mercedes.
They have bad bolts. Don't buy them.
By the way, this episode was not sponsored by Mercedes.
No, it wasn't. Could you tell?
In other news, Ukrainian man Ukrainian.
Oh, wow.
was arrested for dragging a howitzer over the Polish border.
Oh. Yeah. Makes sense.
That happens occasionally.
We'll see you next week.
Will you, though?
Well, if he takes over Poland, who knows who could be next?